Welcome back to the Fit Family podcast for some, to be frank, it's take two. I'm not an audio engineer. We had
Three.
some slight...
It's take three.
Take three?
It's take three. We did it twice yesterday.
No, we didn't.
We did. Harry came in.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
continue.
Okay. Take three. We had some slight interruptions. One unplanned and the other unfortunate. And here we are for take three. In today's episode, we're basically going to be running through the ultra marathon experience. Really, a little bit of training prior. Those of you who are regular listeners, all six of you, shout out. You will have known that I was in fact training for an ultra marathon for 22 weeks. So we're not really going to go over the ins and outs of what every week looked like. But I think the interesting part that most people will find a little fascinating is probably the carbohydrate load, how that looks. And how awful it actually is, despite sounding as though it's something that might be fun. So a little bit about tapering and carb loading, but also, how the actual day went and, how much time it does take to run 100 kilometers.
So just like all things we do in life, we try and make it relatable to the people we work with. So if you think about a goal that you have, specifically probably a performance goal. So most people, doesn't matter what it is, could be running 5K. It could be a rowing event. Whatever that looks like for you, hopefully you can get some takeaways from this podcast. We're not just here to talk about Ben, but we're actually here to learn something and apply it to our own lives.
I was absolutely ready to talk about me for an hour, but all good. All good with your boring, relatable questions. Go for it.
Well, let's start with how did the goal come about?
The overall goal came about. Basically, I was just looking for something a little bit new, a little bit challenging. Now, long endurance stuff like this, we had done the Great Ocean Road marathon before, and when I say we did it and we got through it. I wouldn't exactly say we were ecstatic with how the day went. Scroll back in the history books for that one. That was a bit of an ordeal. After this weekend, we do have an indifferent relationship with events on the Great Ocean Road. Just nothing really seems to go seamlessly. I think that's fair to say. But yeah, like I've flirted with an Ironman for the past couple of years, and I would still like to do that one day. But the ultra marathon was something this year that was actually going to be achievable logistically based on the amount of time and training and the time of the year and the fact that it would just line up with other things that we have on in our life. So yeah, that's how I basically landed on it as a goal. There was no great inspiration. I wasn't watching a documentary and thought, oh yeah, that'd be great. It was just something that I was like, this will be challenging. I'll learn something, about training and nutrition, and I'll learn something about myself as well. So yeah, and it was also kind of stimulating, as in hard enough where I knew I'd actually have to take it seriously and not just be able to kind of float through it.
Yeah, sure.
So that was my thought process.
Yeah. So with any type of goal setting, just making sure that it is realistic for you and your family. Like Ben said, he's always wanted to do something endurance-wise to test himself. But the Ironman just hasn't been the right thing for us to do. It hasn't been the right time, family.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to actually execute that. And prior to this year, endurance events have been quite difficult given we had the facility. So the gym limited us a lot, whereas we've got a lot more flexibility now, which enabled Ben to be able to be flexible with his training.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reality of an Ironman is it would be more sessions than what I did with the ultra marathon, just because of the different disciplines involved in the race. So this one's sort of worked out well, where when I was scoping out programs and the amount of training that it would take, I was really keen for it to, where possible, not eat into other things that were important to me at the time. So whether that be work stuff, obviously we're in a high work season, so I didn't want it to take away from time I could be spent doing that, or I didn't want it to take away from the weekends too much in regards to being out all day as opposed to half a day with the longer run. So there were a few different considerations, and it just worked out quite well. That's how we landed on it.
Yeah. So just make sure there is a bit of planning that does go in before you set your.
Yeah, and then it's not just an emotional decision.
Yeah. Spot on. All right. Now the journey itself. Let's start with the preparation. How far out did you have to start your training for this?
So there was a little bit of overlap with your cycling, as in I started to do the running for 5 to 6 days a week, and I basically just switched up my training from lifting weights like I was and running 2 or 3 times a week to then just predominantly running. You were like tapering a little bit for your cycle when I started to train properly, the run, and get things sorted then, but it worked out okay because the time then was obviously it was just easy benchmark run. It wasn't like a 5-hour weekend or anything like that.
For people listening, like how many weeks out did you have to start training for this event?
I started 22 weeks out. Yeah, so 5.5 months.
So that's quite a lot of time for someone that is quite a seasoned or well-trained athlete. It's just you weren't overly well-trained in this particular discipline. No.
So yeah, I would say I was a recreational runner.
I would say beyond recreational. So you came off the half marathon for speed.
Yeah, and then had about a 4-month no running, complete break. So yeah.
So seasoned enough.
Seasoned enough, as
compared
in.
to someone.
Oh
who
no,
has
I'm not just starting out.
Before.
Yeah, no, make no mistake, I was not starting out, but I was a little bit deconditioned. Yeah. See, this is the good part about these podcasts. We can get specific. See, yeah.
Yeah. So if someone who can't run 5K thought an ultra was a good idea,
they'd need to relax.
They would need a lot more training than 22 weeks.
Yes. Yeah. And even when I was on the course on the weekend, I was like, I probably could have done a little bit more time. But yes, I was keen for it not to be just all consuming all the time.
And how did you find the training process?
I didn't mind.
In terms of juggling your long runs, family, work.
We're lucky with what we do where we can be time flexible, as in, I can do 2 hours of work from 8 till 10 at night, and it's the same work that I may have done from 10 till 12 in the morning. So that level of flexibility bodes well for us with athletic stuff like this, because I can then build the day around the time I'd like to run. So that worked out quite well. The actual program itself, I think, worked out quite well.
Can we just touch on that briefly? So even though we work in the industry, Ben took the time and invested in a program to ensure that he was going to get where he wanted to go.
Yeah, no doubt.
So it's not finger in the air. It's not just using our knowledge. It's actually investing in a proper program to ensure that you were ready for the event.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, I know a little bit about conditioning, and we know a little bit about strength training, maybe more than a little bit, but it's like for those tip of the spear events where it's not just like you can't just generally get there fit and get through. There's a level of, specificity is the word. There's a level of specificity and sophistication that comes with training for those types of events. So I wanted to make sure that I had the information I needed and the structure I needed to give myself the best chance at getting through injury free and being happy with my performance.
Yeah, so in terms of training, you had a structured program and it was 22 weeks. What about your nutrition?
Nutrition, I was largely unstructured, as in, just tried to eat generally well and support movement where possible. Like, I wasn't counting calories, or I wasn't taking a huge amount of care with my macros, apart from, no more than what we might normally do, until about 8 weeks out.
So what did you change at 8 weeks out?
From 8 weeks out, I then started to basically count my macros and take a closer look at calories, just to make sure that I was fueling adequately for the long runs. And it probably took, it took a challenging long run for me to kind of crack the shits a little bit and be like, all right, that didn't work. I need to tweak what I'm currently doing to make sure that I'm giving my body a chance to not only go well during the runs, but also recover at the back end of it, not be so haphazard and just eat everything in sight.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, when Ben refers to macros, talking about the breakdown of his diet into protein, carbs, and fats.
You just
like, oh my goodness, I'm having a mind blank.
You just forgot the third macronutrient.
I know. So actually figuring out what's going to benefit him given what he was trying to achieve. So carbohydrates play a really large role in fueling activity.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was more just to make sure that I was across. So I would say we normally eat fairly moderate carb meals. Like it's rare that we have a meal that is more than 40% carbohydrates. Now this is sort of bridging on nutrition jargon, but our meals are balanced and they usually have a really good serve of protein, a really good serve of carbs, and a good serve of fats too. And I just had to play around with the ratios a little bit so that I could make sure that I was basically leveraging carbs as highly as possible without just eating more and more food to the point where then I was starting to steadily gain weight. So it was more just trying to maximize the carb intake, lower the fats a little bit, and keep the protein nice and steady.
Yeah, so generally the way we eat is just for
general health and wellness. Yeah. So and it speaks to the specificity of the event that it's like just general health and wellness won't get you there. No. So I was like, okay, I need to make sure that I am being specific with my intake. Something else that looked was just being much more consistent with my meals on a Friday to then lower the chance of any type of gastric distress on the Saturday. Because the hard training run I had was a nightmare in that regard. And I was just so dehydrated and it just made it really hard. It was a 40K run and it took me longer than I thought. And it was just it was a bit of a slog and I felt terrible. And I'm like, if the actual day goes like this, it's not going to be as a result of me not being fit enough. It's going to be as a result of me not being prepared enough with just the easy stuff like that. And that will really annoy me. So I was just like, okay, well, I'll just sharpen up my act a little bit and get a bit more serious in that regard. So that's what I did.
Yeah. And again, it's obviously a space we're educated in and enjoy. And I really enjoyed it as well, having many, many conversations with you around what you were doing with your nutrition. Because quite often people think when you coach in that space, it makes you a good, I guess, athlete in executing that, which often isn't the case. I think with both of us, we've spoken about this as well.
Oh.
When you're in it and you've got the emotion attached to it, it's not so black and white. You know what you should be doing.
Yeah.
But actually doing it is a different story.
Oh, our clients know I'm extremely hypocritical with the with some of the advice I give to them and then just completely ignore it, like specifically in regards to rest and stress management and stuff like that. Like I'm always quite often telling our guys to, if they're a bit crook, just miss a workout and they're not, I'm the first person out into the home gym if I'm sick. So I get it. And, having that self-awareness, but that was also part of this journey that was the most fun part is because it was new. And there were elements that were fun and we're about to get onto an element that wasn't so fun as we neared the day. And that was a real challenge. That was probably the biggest learning out of the preparation was the taper and the carbohydrate load.
Yeah. So let's start with the taper. So just explain to people what a taper actually is.
Yeah. So when you're doing, like, most programs will have maybe a 4 to 8 week period where it is really intense. Like it is hard. Your body feels pretty sore and tired most of the time. You don't really get the opportunity to kind of recover back to feeling really good because you're into the next session and you're just constantly breaking your body down. This is on purpose.
Yeah, so that's your maximum training effort.
Yeah, absolutely. But you don't want to enter the race day like that. You want to give your body a chance to kind of fully recover, iron out any niggles. Like I had a bit of a niggly knee, which I didn't have at all on the day. There's just some stuff where it's like I'm redlining and I could potentially break. The whole idea of a taper is that you steadily back off the weekly mileage or kilometers, just to give your body a chance to rest and recover. But the challenging part mentally is you start to feel as though you're losing a bit of your fitness because you're in a bit of a roll and you're kind of locked in, as the kids would say, and then you lose that, potentially that hard mental edge that you had. I felt that way anyway.
So since I've known you, you've always had quite a hard, I'd say, mental stance on things, like go hard or go home.
It's like the most basic training quote ever. Yeah.
So without a doubt, that's where I kind of noticed you start to crack.
Yeah.
And when I say crack, like you were doing what you were meant to be doing, but in terms, like you weren't feeling good about it.
Nah. And yeah, we'd had a trip to Broome and I'd managed the Ks around that, and I hadn't missed a session all the way up until the actual race day. So I knew I was ticking the boxes, but when you start to ramp up your food to make sure that your muscle glycogen stores, basically the amount of usable energy that you can store in your body, is fully topped up, maximized, overflowing, and then you've combined that with exercising less, you start to feel like it's Easter Sunday every day. Yeah, you just feel so chock full and just rubbish.
Let's talk about the carb load. So we've never done, between us, we've never done an official carb load. Even with my endurance stuff, I didn't count my macros.
Not to this extent. So the carb loading that we might normally do would just be a big meal the night before. And you wake up and you feel fine. You might have some extra carbs after dinner, but it wasn't a 3-day experience like this was. So basically a carb load is 24, 48 to 72 hours of eating 10 to 12 grams per kilo of your body weight in carbs a day. Now, that's a lot, guys. It's a lot. Just to paint the picture here. So I would average about 300 grams of carbs a day, anywhere from 2 to 300. So I had to triple it. Normally. Yeah. So triple it for 3 days in a row. And the hard part was as well the food choices. So because we normally have high fiber, high volume options, you can't do that. You can't eat 900 grams of carbs out of potatoes, bread and rice because you'll just throw up. It's just simply too much food. Yeah. So you have to turn to things like honey, high GI carbs like white bread, wraps, rolls, lollies, fruit juices, things like that, which we don't normally have. And that's what kind of that more processed nutrition also makes me feel quite rubbish because we're not used to it. Dependent on the type of diet people eat, this experience could look or feel very different from individual to individual. Yeah. Coming off the way we eat, which is pretty much nearly whole foods. Yeah. To then an ultra processed diet is, it's a big change. Yeah, it's the part of endurance racing that I like the least, and you'd probably agree to that as well. It's the actual exercise I find fine. The long time under tension doesn't bother me at all. The food and the sugars and things like that, dreadful. Yeah, it's just not, I guess it goes against our grain. Yeah, and taste buds. You're a little bit better at ultra processed. You do some things. That are probably at the more processed end of the scale. No more than anyone else. Just enjoy lollies and the occasional bit of cake and stuff like that. But it's not it's not one of those food groups that I'm just a bottomless pit. Because when you tell people, oh yeah, I'm smashing carbs and I'm eating lots of lollies and things like that, they go, oh, sounds awesome. And it's the first little bowl is fine. You're oh, this is cool. When you are sitting down, not hungry after dinner, and you've got 200 grams of carbs to go, and you weigh out your lollies, it's oh my God, this is terrible. I'll often speak to people about the challenges of losing weight versus gaining weight. And anyone who knows, when you are sitting down to eat and you are just not hungry, it's the least appealing thing in the world. Yeah, think about when you're sick or something. And you're forcing yourself. You felt like that for days. Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, like all for a good cause. And it's one of the things that went really well on the day was the way I felt fueling wise, stomach wise. I didn't crash. I didn't hit the wall, physically anyway. And then, so that went really well. So I was glad that went well. And yeah, it
Yeah.
could have been worse. Like I ran past a lot of people towards the end who it looked like had just hit zero.
Yeah. I was actually observing some people at the end of the race. So while we're waiting for Ben to come in, we're at the finish line. And there were quite a few people coming in over the line looking really disorientated, which was a little bit concerning. Especially because some people, didn't have other people there. They were kind of just like wandering around by themselves. But you looked so good when you finished.
I think I was on a bit of a high.
Yeah.
But like I'd had my crash out earlier, so I think I was just like I'd gone full circle.
And when you say crash, you meant like you're mentally.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. Not physically.
No, let's actually talk about the day though, because
let's go to the actual event. So you carb loaded to give yourself the best opportunity. So you're training.
Yeah.
You did everything you possibly could.
Yeah.
Your nutrition, again, you did everything you possibly could. So you were rocking up race day, feeling 100.
I was feeling stressed. So let's sort of talk about the Friday first. So those of you who follow us on Instagram will have seen on the Friday, we got in the car, went down to Anglesea, picked up the kids from kinder and school. I think we got down there at about 3.
So again, trying to give Ben the best opportunity. Like you don't want to be rocking up really late the night before, not being able to stretch your legs, those kinds of things. And
again, grateful for the opportunity to manipulate our schedule and make sure that we could get down there early and log on to the laptops later instead of having to, hang around an office or do whatever until 6 o'clock and then go. It does make a big difference to the way you can potentially feel just by stretching your legs out. So that was the plan. We had executed the plan, packed up, all done in the morning. As we were driving down, anyone who's been to Anglesea or the Great Ocean Road before would know that kind of stretch of road from Torquay to Anglesea, and then you go downhill into the main drag there, And as we're driving in, we're about to turn left into the caravan park where we're staying, and I just have this sick feeling like, oh my God, I've forgotten the key. So we're incredibly lucky to have friends of ours who have a permanent cabin actually down there. So we'd teed up to stay there. Kids love it, bouncy cushion, all that stuff. They couldn't give a rat's about the race. They were all pumped about the bouncy cushion.
Yep.
And I was just like, oh my God, I've forgotten the key. And Danny said, are you joking?
Ben always jokes. He likes to increase my heart rate regularly.
Yeah, and the kids as well. And I was just like, no, I promise I'm not. I've forgotten the key. Or I think I asked you if you grabbed it. And then from there, I was just like, I couldn't think. I was just like, what are we going to do?
You're like, let me think for a minute. Yeah, I was like, what are you talking about?
You're going,
time to think.
You're going, what are we going to do? And I'm like, let's just sit down. Let me just think this through.
You wanted to get your race pack, and I'm like, no, we need to make the decision now.
Yeah.
Because we need the key as soon as possible.
Yeah, so I felt absolutely sick at this stage. I was like, what are we going to do? Are we going to drive back and get it, stay somewhere else, try and find a spare room, which is hard to do when there's a race on in the weekend. They're all booked up. So we eventually had the idea is we'll Uber it down. So then I was feeling sick about how much that was going to be. And I'm like, what a waste of money that is. But once your mum was able to come over here, grab the key, slap it in an Uber, and I could see on the Uber app that it was on the way, I was like, I was okay after that. But I was just, it was hard not to just forget about it and get on with it. I was just like, so that was a bit stressful and frustrating at the time. Still frustrating now, actually.
Yeah, right. Let's not look. He's getting upset again. Let's not talk about it. We got the event pack. Now we did plan to eat, so we had planned our day obviously to again optimize your experience for the event itself. So we planned to have pasta at home. That was stressing me out as well. That night.
Yeah.
So we looked up, and there was a pizza and pasta shop across the road.
Yep.
So
Went
that
there.
worked out quite well. You
Worked out
stretched
well.
your legs, went for a little bit of a walk, kids went to the park, and then we went for dinner while we waited for the Uber.
Yeah, and then we went back to the event center. They had like a little bit of a briefing, and we got the key. Like that got dropped off, and then we got into the cabin, and the electricity was turned off. And you're like, "We've got an issue with the electricity," and I'm like, "What is going on?" And then Harry goes, "Dad, you're just gonna have to cancel your race." Or what did he say? He's like,
Yeah, he was quick to can you, wasn't he?
He'd withdrawn me. He goes, "You're gonna have to cancel." I was like, "Well, the race is going ahead." He goes, he said something along the lines of "You're not in it" or something like that.
Imagine that, a DNF against your record.
Or
It's did not
DNS.
finish.
No, it didn't
Did
even
not start.
Yeah,
He
didn't even
doesn't have
start.
a start line.
But we managed to sort that out. We're able to find the switchboard and flick everything on. So that worked out okay. It turned out from what was supposed to be a relatively easy day to just being a little bit more stressful than normal. And that was reflected in my watch's stress score.
Anybody that knows Ben, I think would say they've never seen him stressed in his life. And I can honestly say, apart from when I gave birth to Mia, I don't think I've ever seen you this stressed.
Yeah, but you don't come to the footy anymore. So there's
That's
that too.
true. That's true.
Yeah, he's staying with the kids. No, but like I was stressed at that stage, and it just wasn't how I had the day planning out, and it was a bit of a recurring theme. It was just the expectations in my mind versus what was actually happening, and being able to just play the moment, I guess, and be in control of what's happening right now was a bit of a theme through the next day, because it just makes things hard when you start to worry about stuff that, well, obviously I had control over packing the key or not, but at that stage I had no control over where the key was.
Yeah. So we tell people all the time, being able to apply your knowledge no matter what the situation. So yes, you want to give yourself the best opportunity, but when things don't go to plan, what can you do? So being flexible, and that's what we coach day in, day out. So again, the plan was pasta for dinner. You still had pasta for dinner.
Yeah. And I was in my house like, I don't know the oils. Is this going to upset my stomach? I'd been so it was just all of these thoughts that were going through my head, but it worked out okay in the end. We got in there, it was all fine. Had my lollies, and it was a combination of, I feel disgustingly full, very undertrained because I've run for like an hour this week as opposed to the other weeks of training. We've just dropped a couple $100 on this Uber. It was just, what else is going to go wrong here? And yeah, apart from that, it was okay.
All right, event day. Come on, Ben. Jeez, this was a long podcast.
Sorry.
He likes.
It's actually a therapy.
He's been enjoying.
It's cheaper than a therapy session. Yeah, just let it. There's a big trauma dump on the old pod.
Okay, race day. You started off on the beach. It was gorgeous. Oh my gosh.
It was a beautiful morning.
The sunrise was amazing.
It was a beautiful morning. I was up a couple of hours earlier eating.
Yeah.
Again.
So what time did you get up?
4:15.
4:15 for a race start of 6:45.
Yeah.
Why were we up at 4:15?
Wanted to basically eat as many carbs as possible and give myself a chance of digesting them and getting them out of my stomach. The closer you get to actually exercising, you don't want food in your stomach because it draws blood away from your muscles. Yep. And then it can just feel like a lump in your stomach. So plenty of time to get, I think I had just wraps, honey and a protein bar, something like that. And then just listen to music and tried to chill out, got dressed. And then we drove around near the start line. You could see plenty of people in the caravan park all making their way to the cars and the start lines and things like that. The start was absolutely fine. It's obviously not a very fast race, or for me it wasn't anyway. So, it's not like you're trying to jostle into a position and get into a rhythm. We did like a bit of a 3K loop, I think it was, and then ran back past you guys on the start, heading back towards Torquay. So that was nice to see everyone. And then, just started leg one. Like, my whole plan was to walk the uphills and jog the rest. So just to save my legs, make sure I wasn't burning myself out on the more arduous areas of the course. But leg one from Anglesea to Torquay, there was a lot of areas where you weren't actually able to run, or I wasn't. They were really soft sand, quite hilly along the beach. We were running over the rocks around Bells Beach, and I was like, don't trip over here and stack, and then that'd be a really sad way to start the day. And yeah, it was just more steady going and basically getting through that point and it giving myself a chance at actually getting through the 100K. So I was a little bit frustrated at how little kind of continuous running there was, but I felt good at the point I saw you. I think it was about 25Ks.
Yeah, 24, you're looking good.
Yeah, felt fine. Was just a little bit annoyed at how slow it was and how little actual running there was.
So at that point, because obviously I now know what happened after that point, but at that point, I still thought like you're in great headspace.
Felt fine.
Physically,
yeah, physically
you
fine.
were fine,
yeah.
obviously. Yeah. Go on and then I'll expand when I saw you later.
Leg 2 was a little harder than I thought it was going to be. It was quite a rugged terrain in through the bushlands. You kind of, instead of going the coastal route from Anglesea to Torquay, you go more inland, hilly, like up and down, and then quite rugged in regards to the actual path. So the challenge was also concentrating and not tripping over. Like I had a couple of near stacks, stubbed my toe a couple of times, but it was interesting. I was actually eavesdropping a couple behind us, and they were talking about the guy had done some training with a triathlete and how he psychologically couldn't disassociate from the times and the splits on his watch and just enjoy the run. And I was like, in hindsight, I was like, well, that's just me. Like I kept looking at my split and being like, this is slow, even though I know trails are slower than road or path or stuff I've done prior. But it was just sort of starting to bog me down a little bit as to the time it was taking me to get through to the checkpoints. And I was starting to get in my head a little bit about that. So that felt like a long leg, even though kilometres wise, it was just another 25.
Yeah, I was about to say, when I saw you at Point Addis, was it? Point Addis? Anyway, the checkpoint after Torquay.
Yeah.
I could see the frustration.
Yeah, I was getting a bit annoyed because at no stage of the run until the last leg did it feel as though I was able to run without being forced to stop by either the conditions or just having to do a big hill climb or something like that. There was it was more power hiking and jogging when you can, and which, that is trail running. That's okay. I just wasn't really prepared for that in the moment.
I was about to say, even when you know what something is going to be. So we know heaps of trail runners, we've spoken about it. You've never done it.
No, not to that level. No way.
Yeah.
No.
So to actually just be in it, it kind of, humbling experience for you.
Oh, very humbling. I was like, why am I running 7-minute Ks, 8 minutes up this hill and things I was like, this is So I was starting to, and in hindsight, I should have switched off. So my watch vibrates every K. It's just the notifications heading on it. I should have switched it off.
Yeah, okay.
Because 100 vibrates was starting to do my head in. But so it's just sort of I should have switched it off in that moment and just enjoyed the scenery a bit more and just chilled out rather than getting in my head a little bit. But by the time I got to the 50K mark, I still felt physically okay, but I was starting to feel a little bit worried at the potential of how long it was going to take because I hadn't trained for that amount of time. So by the time I got to halfway, it was 6.5 hours, and my longest training run was 5 hours.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oof.
When we saw you at halfway, you were angry.
Yeah, I was pissed.
You were fuming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ben was not a happy camper, and you had me a little bit worried there. But your dad had come down, which was lovely. And yeah, it was nice for me to kind of have people to bounce off.
Yeah.
After you left, because it's not very often I see you that emotional. I guess when I
No.
say emotional, he wasn't crying, he wasn't swearing, he wasn't.
No,
He
no.
was just frustrated.
Yeah, I was just felt as though I'd had like the reins pulled up a little bit, and I wasn't able to get through it as quickly as I would like. Yeah, and then the kid, and then the kids kept asking me for lollies, and I'm just like, and I started to stress. I'm like, you can't have any because I don't know if I've packed enough. Like I had it kind of organised as to eating every half an hour.
Even more hilarious, guys. There is like
Yeah,
so
there's
much food
heaps.
at the pit stops. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
they were stocked really well.
Oh, they were
He wasn't
stocked
gonna run out of
unbelievably
lollies.
well, but like I didn't know what was there, and I didn't want to rely on stuff that I hadn't practiced with. So I very much wanted to keep it my stuff and then just use theirs if needed. But yeah, I ended up not needing as much as I packed, which is a good result. But at halfway, part of the frustration as well was I was like, that's supposed to be the easier part, and now I know that leg 3 is going to be tough. But even then, at the race briefing, and this just speaks to naivety on my part and not being as organised by checking the, like the course and where the steep parts are. I was just like, it's a hill, whatever. I knew that.
You know what's uber funny?
Yeah.
For how long out was I asking you about the course?
Oh, I didn't even look. I was just like, whatever,
You're like,
lady.
doesn't matter.
I was
Doesn't
like,
matter,
come
Dan.
on.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Well, yeah, in my mind, it's like, it doesn't matter, and I'm not going to worry about it before it happens. I'm just going to get through it. Regardless, it's going to be fine. How hard can it be?
Oh my goodness.
And
I would have been stressed.
it was leg 3 was like the hardest 4.5 hours of exercise I've ever done.
In your life.
Oh, brutal. It was so hard. Like the straight out of Anglesey, you go up a hill, like a steep hill, a long one. Like it took a while. And then you get to the top and it's like, whew, all right, cool. Now it's going to be rolling hills because that's what they said. Rolling hills, sweet. I should be able to implement my plan, jog, walk. And we just plunged into this epic decline. And I'm like, well, if I start running down there on legs that have done 50Ks already, I literally may just start tumbling and picking up steam. So had to be steady down there, which smashes your quads. And I took a picture and it's like, it was just these massive fire trail hills with the pole lines. And I was like, oh my God, that's so long. And I'm looking into the distance and I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure there are runners crawling up that. And I'm like, oh shit, that's to come. That's going to be hard. So it was just a slog. And then once we did the fire trail hills, it was up this, I can't even remember what the hill's called, like, but it had a name, which means it's fair dinkum. And yeah, that was the hardest part, and that's where I was starting to get really frustrated. And the thoughts going through my head was like, you're going to have to put the kids to bed. Like, this is going to be so much longer than I thought. And it was all stuff that had nothing to do with what I was doing right then.
Yeah, everything outside of the race.
Oh, I was like, how annoying for everyone who's come down. Like, this has taken ages. Like, they're all just going to be waiting around. How frustrating. And I just got completely inside my own head and started abusing myself for not training more hills. Like, all sorts of stuff that just didn't matter in that moment. And it wasn't until, like, I saw you, how many Ks? About 66?
The next point I saw you, because I was like, oh boy, this isn't going to be good.
Yeah.
And
that was a long time in between.
It was a long time in between, but when I saw you, I was so relieved. Like, you got better and better from that point.
Well, I'd figured it out by then, yeah. I'd got out of my head and I was like, all right.
So you had your moment.
Yeah. A long moment.
Alone.
Yeah. Alone. I was just trudging up this hill and then jogging when I could. And then I was like, I can't even remember what I was telling myself, but it was just like, basically just chill out. Just chill out. It's going to get done. Like, it'll be fine. You're not hurt. Like, it's not as though you're injured and you're hobbling. I know I can do hard stuff. The time's going to pass regardless. Like, my mantra with hard stuff is always, time's going to pass regardless. You're going to eventually be back in the cabin. And are you going to look back and be glad that you did it or annoyed that you sucked? And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to be annoyed that I sucked. So, like, it's just, that's what I tell myself every time there's anything hard, and then it just yeah, I started to run, and yeah, well, actually, I do remember what I told myself towards the end. I was like, because I kept getting in my head about the fact I was like, I can't run up this thing. Like, it's not running. Like, this is not a running event. And I was getting so pissed. I'm like, this is a hiking event. They shouldn't even call it an ultra marathon. I was like, just ridiculous thoughts, right? Because people were running and they were doing a really good job. And I was like, oh, what is this hiking? And I was like, and then I just eventually told myself, like, you've done all the training, mate, just effing run. So I just started to jog and picked up a bit of pace down the hill. And that would have been about an hour before I saw you. And I was like, all right, I'm back.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I was really happy when I saw you at that point.
Yeah.
And I kind of came out of the checkpoint a little bit further, like to see where you were. And when you started talking to me and like asking for food and like that was, you were looking.
No, I was all right
good,
then.
and I knew you had it at that point.
I'd had my little Menti B, my little Tanty, halfway up the hill. I got to the top, and then I was like, all right. And I looked on my elevation map on the watch, and I was like, this is the highest point. Yeah. It does not get any harder from here, so stop cracking it and
home run.
Get on with it. So started to jog, and then the funny part was after I saw you, we then went into another big hill climb. And then I got to the 75 clicks to go, and I was like, all right, let's just smash it out. And that last leg was like, I haven't even seen my splits. I don't even know any information about overall placings or anything like that.
This is like now dinner time and it's dark when I saw you. It
was about 7, was it? Or earlier? 6?
6 something, I think.
Yeah. 6:30 maybe. Had to get the head torch out. And yeah, that last leg was, 75 to 100, so 25. And that was the best I felt by a mile.
You were on a high when I saw you then.
Yeah, I was in a
You're
good
like,
groove.
I don't even want to stop. Like you were feeling good then.
Yeah, it was weird how good my legs felt, and like just overall how like I felt like I finally got the opportunity in that last 25 Ks where it wasn't so up and down and quite dramatic to actually use the fitness that I'd built up over the past 5 months. So I was just like, thank God.
We are forever convincing people to trust the process, and that was a prime example. Like I was so proud of the way you applied yourself with the training. Like you did not miss a beat. Did not. You were so disciplined with it, and
should have trained more hills, but next. Yeah.
No, but in terms of time and mileage.
No, the timing and the mileage was there.
You got it wrong. Maybe you could have listened and looked at the map.
Could have listened a little better, looked at the map. But it was that last 25 where I was like, all right, I can see that we're coming out of the hills and we're going back along the coastline, so it will be rolling, nothing crazy. And I was able to, or it felt like I was putting the hammer down, but it wasn't. It was still a slow jog a little bit, but I was actually able to get
at 85 Ks going.
No, but it was I was able to get decent stretches in of continuous running.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Helped you,
yeah, and then I saw you guys again at 85?
Yeah, that's when I was talking about the 85, sorry. I missed one stop.
Yeah,
85 it was dark.
Yeah, 85 it was dark. I had our pissy little head torch on, which was about as much lighting as the moon that wasn't in the sky. I had a little stack with that. But yeah, from there until the end, because it feels like you're like, 85, I'm nearly there. And it's like, well, it is another hour and a half of, 2 hours. Like it will take a little while, but that was the best part of the race. So I'm glad that if the race had ended at the end of leg 3, I would have not had many good memories of the day or how I went. I would have been annoyed at how I felt, not so much at how I performed, but at just how I felt.
Yeah.
I was like, and it was down to expectations that I shouldn't have had. And that was part of the chat I was having with myself. It's like, you didn't have any expectations coming in. Why are you getting annoyed? Like, this is just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was that. Got through it, hit the finish line at, just after 9 o'clock. Long day for everyone.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Harry was so Mia didn't quite make it to the finish line.
No, yeah.
Mia fell asleep at the dinner table.
Yep.
And very, very thankful, well, we both are. We had the biggest support network down there.
Yeah.
Family,
No,
friends.
it was great. And super helpful as well.
our brother-in-law ended up taking Mia back to the room.
Yeah.
And she was there, and Harry came
She'd
down.
mentally checked out after a while. She's like, all right, this run sucks.
She's like her mother. As soon as she's tired,
Yeah,
she
just
checks out.
Packs it in.
Yeah,
Packs it in.
That Harry ran over the finish line with you, and like I said, when you crossed the line, you looked awesome.
I finished strong, so I was really happy with that. And Harry was adorable all day. He was like, he was super into it.
He was your hype man.
Yeah, he was the little hype man, offering me lollies and gels and making sure I had everything. And yeah, that was nice. It was nice. And like, as I was coming into the line, like I just sort of made sure that I was like, this is like 100K is a big deal. Like, this is a long time. It's not just like another half that I've already done, or, you know, like I've actually beaten a time. Odds are I will never do anything like this again, so just enjoy it. And it was nice. It was good.
It was nice to see.
Yeah,
Cross
the line. Harry came across. He was loving it, standing there with
my
my
goodness.
with my medal on, posing in the we'll call it a little press scrum there. He was just like happy as.
Loves a bit of attention like his father.
Yeah. So yeah, it was good. And then, I mean, the recovery's been pretty fine, really. Like, I've been a bit tired, which I was like, I didn't think I'd be this fatigued, but I feel okay now. Legs feel fine. Came away without an injury, just a nice blister.
I was about to say, injury-wise, your body held up really well.
Couldn't have gone any better in regards to that.
But it's just, I guess, the things you struggle with is slowing down. So, like the taper and the recovery, where I'm seeing you kind of hurt. Like, you're frustrated. Yeah.
But just, it's like I've got no reason to be frustrated. And I know that. Like, I've got this self-awareness. It's like, yeah, mate, it's a big adrenaline dump. It's a big energy push to do that in a day. Like, well, of course it might take a week and two, but I'm like, in my mind, I was like, once it's done, ready to launch.
He wants to go for a run, guys. It's like holding a greyhound.
I'm like, hell yeah, this is great. You know, can get back into more gym stuff, work, blah, 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 all that stuff. Can't wait. And then it's just like, oh, I feel about 2 out of 10 energy. Maybe I need to go to bed early. Like, what time was I in bed yesterday? Like 8 o'clock or something?
8, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, understanding that recovery piece and how important it is to getting back to what it is, you know, we love and preach every day.
Yeah.
Which is health and well-being. It's a great learning experience for us when we do these things.
Yeah.
And put ourselves in situations to help us understand when other people come to us.
Yeah.
With similar types of.
Yeah, of course. Like, it's I would say that probably my biggest learning out of the whole experience has just been like, set expectations, but then stick to them. So, like, you know, if you say you have no expectations on performance, then you cannot get grumpy if you've been slower than you thought. Like, just small things like that. Like, I didn't learn anything about myself in regards to perseverance or the ability to dig in. Like, I knew I had that. I know I can get through stuff if my legs are sore, whatever. Like, I'm quite comfortable in that space. But it's more the expectations and the psychology around just sticking through it. You know, if the field has changed, you know, the conditions have changed, it's fine. Just stay on the plan, and it'll be past. That would probably be it. But yeah, it was a big weekend. All done. Happy days. Won't sign up for next year, probably. Probably have a little break from the old endurance stuff. I'm looking forward to getting back into the gym.
I was saying so obviously we saw a lot of people on the day following you around all day. There was an option for teams, so the 100 kilometers is broken down into groups of 4, so you can do 25 kilometers each. Or I also spoke to a couple of people that were doing like 2 legs, so they were like a duo.
1 and 3, and
so they did 50 k's each, and those people, they looked happy, Benjamin.
They
looked so happy, they looked so fresh, and it was so much fun for them. So the event itself was run like amazing.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
An amazing job. And yeah, like everyone, like the vibes. I was chatting to Emma, who came down, one of our really, really good friends, and just the event vibes is incredible. At things like that, it just, yeah.
Event vibes are unmatched. Like, especially when it's sort of like the people who are at that event, because it's quite specialized. It's not a fun run. Like it's not where you'll get your 5Ks, 10Ks, 21s, all the way up to marathons where you have quite a broad and diverse range of goals and abilities. Like it's quite specialized in regards to the people who are running on the day. So, trail runners are a different breed. Like I think Cara called me a roadie. It's just like, she's like, oh, you're such a roadie. Like after I was complaining about how slow it was over the rocks or something like that. And I was like, oh, yeah, I was actually thinking about that in leg 3. It's like, yeah, just enjoy it for what it is and how different it is. Like it doesn't have, amazing experience. Like it doesn't have much crossover into like our normal training or our normal, competing or testing ourselves or anything like that. So yeah, it was really cool. Yeah. It was really cool, and looking forward to not running 100 kilometers for in one hit for a very, very long time.
That's great to hear. I'm
yeah, really pleased, and we've got our Saturdays back, and this is just glorious.
Yeah, but takeaways, guys, like have a think about the goal initially. Obviously, it can be quite big and impact people's lives quite a lot, not only yours but those around you.
Yeah, massive.
Always make sure you have a reflection piece, and take something away from it. What did you learn from the experience? And I think both of us took a lot away from this one. And yeah, just always looking for something new and exciting. It doesn't always have to be the same.
Yeah.
This was so different to anything.
Yeah, so different.
Yeah, you've ever done before.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was awesome. If anyone has any questions or is thinking about doing something like this, like it doesn't have to be a 100K run because all goals are relative. But let us know. Let us know if you've got any questions about fueling or carb loading, anything like that. Somewhat of an expert now. So send them through. Good trauma dump therapy sesh. Catch you on the next one.
Bye.